than 2 million members enjoying the benefits of this powerful card. Call now.
Tonight, massacre in Madrid. Jam-packed commuter trains are blown apart by a series of terror bombs, and it's followed by the threat of a new and imminent terror attack against the United States. And here in Iraq, CBS News is there where it happened today, a well-placed homemade bomb ripping through an American Army convoy.
Also tonight, this woman worked in the U.S. Congress. Now she's accused of spying for Iraq. And same-sex marriages in the USA. The state that said yes takes another look.
This is the CBS Evening News, with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Baghdad and John Roberts from New York.
Good evening from Iraq. One front in the war on terror. It is not the only one. There was a deadly reminder of that today when a series of bombs exploded aboard commuter trains in Madrid, Spain. About 200 people were killed, hundreds wounded. An email to an Arabic newspaper claimed responsibility in the name of Al-Qaeda and had this warning for the United States. The strike of the black wind of death, the expected strike against America, is now at its final stage, 90% ready, and it is coming soon. CBS's Alan Pizzi begins our coverage of today's terror attack in Spain. I caution you, some of the pictures are graphic.
With a viciousness that defied comprehension, 3 crowded trains were torn apart by bombs at the peak of Madrid's morning rush hour. It was the biggest attack of its kind ever in Europe. Within half an hour, 10 bombs were detonated at 3 different commuter hubs, apparently by remote control. People were literally torn apart by the force of the blasts. I saw people on the ground in flames screaming, this victim says. Ambulance crews were hard-pressed to know who to treat first. People were running out of the train covered in blood, Roberto Cabrera says. Local people were bringing blankets to cover the wounded and the dead. It was total chaos. At least 3 other bombs were found, possibly set to explode as the rescue operation got underway. Rescuers told of cell phones ringing on bodies being carried away as frantic friends and relatives called for news. A Spanish government official said the explosives were apparently placed on the train in backpacks. Only a relatively small amount of explosives was required for each bomb in order to wreak this havoc. What has struck some terrorism experts as remarkable is the degree of coordination required to set them off with such precise timing. Such sophistication smacks of Al-Qaeda, and tonight a London-based Arabic newspaper said it had received a letter purportedly from bin Laden's group claiming credit for the attacks. Detonators and an audio tape of Quranic verses found outside Madrid also cast suspicion on Muslim militants angry at Spain's alliance with Washington in a war with Iraq. Such is the horror in Spain today that campaigning for elections has been suspended. 3 days of mourning declared and a massive rally to protest such violence called for tomorrow. Alan Pizzi, CBS News, Madrid.
An Al-Qaeda connection to that attack is just one possibility Spanish investigators are looking into. There are others. CBS News correspondent Richard Roth is tracking that part of the story.
The claim of Al-Qaeda responsibility came in an unauthenticated email to the London-based newspaper Al-Quds, calling the bombing, quote, part of settling old accounts with Spain, America's ally in its war against Islam. An audio tape last October purportedly from Osama bin Laden had threatened to strike back at Spain and other U.S. allies for their role in the war in Iraq. And while they said detonators and an Arabic tape found in a van near Madrid may lead them elsewhere, Spanish authorities' first line of investigation focused on domestic terror and the Basque separatists of ETA. Prime Minister Jose Maria Aznar called them assassins and vowed to crush them. With bullets and bombs, ETA's claimed responsibility or been blamed for more than 800 deaths in its 35-year campaign to carve out an independent state in northwest Spain. The initials stand for Basque homeland and freedom, but typically ETA's hit smaller targets.
It has targeted specific figures, including the Spanish Prime Minister. But this sort of has the kind of identity, if you like, or the sort of a flavor of some of the Al-Qaeda type of attacks.
Officials now say the investigation's wide open, but a Spanish security expert says it could still be that ETA or others have taken a depraved lesson from 9/11, a new ambition to mass murder. Richard Roth, CBS News, London.
Now, more about this new alleged terror threat against the United States. CBS's Bob Orr has been working a wide variety of sources and getting reaction.
Dan, U.S. authorities are reviewing the letter, but caution it is too early to say if the threat is credible. The group making the claim, Abu Hafs al-Masri Brigades, is affiliated with al-Qaeda and has carried out bombings before. But U.S. officials caution the group is notoriously unreliable and does not necessarily speak for Osama bin Laden's organization. For example, Abu Hafs took credit for last summer's Northeast blackout. U.S. officials say the attacks in Spain do look like the work of al-Qaeda. Coordinated simultaneous bombings aimed at soft civilian targets with the goal of a high fatality count. But at the same time, sources say it's a bit unusual for al-Qaeda to come out and claim responsibility. As for the threatened attack against the U.S., officials say they see nothing at all in the intelligence reporting to indicate that such an attack is imminent. One source says the claim that plans for a U.S. strike are, quote, 90% complete does not jibe with what U.S. agents are picking up in phone call and email intercepts. In fact, he says the threat reporting, the so-called chatter level, is lower now than it was over the holidays. So at the moment, at least, the Department of Homeland Security says it has no plans to raise the nation's terror threat level. Dan?
Bob Orr in Washington, thanks. Here in Iraq today, roadside bombs killed 3 more American soldiers. One from an Army engineering battalion died near Bakuba, north of Baghdad. The others, members of the 82nd Airborne Division, were killed west of the capital near Ramadi. We were on the same road when it happened and got to the scene as the dead and wounded were being carried away. It's a bad day in Iraq when the Army needs Navy jets to provide air cover. Here's what we know and all we know. There's a convoy just back there behind this first vehicle is a Humvee, which is described by someone who's seen it as, quote, having the windows blown out. Now, over here to my right is a small building, and there appear to be prisoners at least being questioned about what happened. The story that unfolds is a familiar one. An IED, improvised explosive device, public enemy number 1 for soldiers in Iraq, has detonated on the highway near Ramadi, a notorious flashpoint. A security convoy from the 82nd Airborne, on a mission to help newly arrived U.S. Marines, took the full brunt of the blast. 2 paratroopers are dead and another seriously injured. Major General Charles Chuck Swanwick commands the 82nd. Who were the people attacking him, or do you know?
It was probably set in there by some insurgents, some individuals that want to go ahead and bloody the coalition forces. And they did do that today.
The insurgents have more American military targets at the moment. Troops are rotating in and out of the country in the largest movement of its kind since World War II. Around 250,000 soldiers and Marines are on the move. At this base, Marines are replacing the outgoing 82nd Airborne.
Well, it's good to see the Marines here, sir.
What do they want to know most?
Well, they're very particular about the IEDs, how they get set up, how do you look out for them.
There was something else the newly arrived Marines to look out for today. Let me ask your partner over here. Well, I'm not sure what to make of that. You tell me.
Could be incoming roadside bombs. Don't know.
It was incoming. Marines started to scramble. A mortar round left 1 Marine and a civilian contractor injured. Major General Swanwick says the attacks are decreasing, but even he was surprised at today's audacious daylight attack. And soon he will have to draft a letter to the loved ones of the 2 paratroopers who were killed on the road earlier in the day. What do you tell the families their sons and or daughters died for?
I tell them they died for their fellow paratroopers. I tell them also that the cause is just, that we are supporting our nation at war against global terrorism.
I'll be back from Baghdad later in the broadcast. Right now, my colleague John Roberts in New York with more of the day's news. John?
Thanks, Dan, and good evening from New York. The U.S. government today brought a startling charge of spying against an American citizen, one who's worked at various times for 4 members of Congress. As CBS News correspondent Jim Stewart reports, 41-year-old Susan Lindauer is accused of spying for Iraq.
It's not at all clear from the indictment papers what the government thinks Susan Lindauer did for the Iraqi intelligence service, but Lindauer was clear leaving the court today how she views herself.
I'm an anti-war activist and I'm innocent. I worked to get the weapons inspectors back into Iraq when everybody said it was impossible. So I'm very proud of what I've done for this country.
The government charges that for 3 years Lindauer met with Iraqi agents at their UN mission in New York and made a trip to Baghdad to meet with Iraqi intelligence officials in 2002. Altogether, the government charges she accepted $10,000 in expenses and pay from Iraq. But as FBI agents gathered materials from her Tacoma Park, Maryland home today, it wasn't clear what information, if any, Lindauer passed along in exchange for the money. And officials admitted all she gave undercover FBI agents in a later sting operation were some papers she wrote calling for world peace. Neighbors remembered someone who occasionally quarreled with others and a bit of a klutz.
She couldn't even turn on her lawnmower last year.
A former journalist who briefly worked as a speechwriter for Senator Carol Moseley Braun, Lindauer comes from a political family. Her father once ran for governor of Alaska, and White House Chief of Staff Andrew Card is a distant cousin. Investigators say Lindauer played up her relationship with Card, and the Iraqis knew about it. The White House said Card had no comment and called the arrest a sad personal incident. Jim Stewart, CBS News at the FBI.
Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, the same-sex marriage debate rages again in Massachusetts. But will a compromise proposal fly? We'll have the inside story. And later, the race of the robots. Unmanned experimental vehicles compete for a big Pentagon prize.
Are you living with mild or moderate eczema? Well, when you and your doctor find other treatments aren't right for you, there's concern about their risks, or you simply can't tolerate them. Maybe I can help. My name is Elidel. I'm steroid-free. Use me for repeated courses as directed by your doctor, even on children as young as 2. You see, I'm tough, and I can go anywhere on skin, including your face. I target the key cells involved with eczema, right at the site of the problem. High five. Sorry.
There is no cure for eczema, but Elidel significantly relieves the itching and redness. The most common side effects are a feeling of warmth or burning where applied, headaches, cold-like symptoms such as sore throat and cough, and rarely viral skin infections. You should also protect your skin from the sun and sun lamps.
So if you're living with mild or moderate eczema, ask your doctor if I'm right for you. Elidel. Fight eczema right where it starts.
2 weeks without a cigarette. I was this close to giving in. Then I thought, you're crazy. You're this close to finally making it.
When you're quitting smoking and you get a really tough craving, an extra piece of Nicorette can help make all the difference. One bite and it quickly begins to release the medicine you need. With Nicorette, you can always add an extra piece to your schedule. So whenever you need help, you've got it.
I've never gone this long without a cigarette.
Nicorette helps you quit, one craving at a time.
Adults with high cholesterol, diet and exercise aren't always enough. But adding Lipitor can help lower your total cholesterol 29 to 45%. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a serious side effect. So take the next step. Ask your doctor if Lipitor is right for you.
California's highest court today ordered an immediate halt to same-sex marriages in San Francisco while it considers whether they're legal. Also today, the Massachusetts legislature met to deal with the state court ruling there that same-sex marriages should be legal. CBS News correspondent Mika Brzezinski has tonight's Inside Story.
What we want!
Before the first same-sex couple has said "I do" in Massachusetts,
We don't have a clue what you want!
protesters and state legislators are refusing to forever hold their peace.
The amendment is adopted.
The legislature voted today for a compromise proposal, moving one step toward a ban on same-sex marriages by amending the state constitution and establishing civil unions instead. And no one is watching closer than Julie Goodrich, who, along with partner Hillary and 6 other couples, ignited a national firestorm by suing the state for the right to marry.
Changing it to civil unions, even though there are some protections, would do what to your effort?
Civil unions are essentially a separate but equal status.
Since Julie's case hit the headlines, the same-sex marriage movement has taken off.
Marriage is a union of a man and woman as husband and wife.
We live in a free society, and freedom means freedom for everybody.
A Republican gay rights group lashed back at the president today, using the words of the vice president against him.
I don't think there should necessarily be a federal policy in this area.
Back where it all began in Boston, the marriage debate rages on.
But the way God sets it up is male and female.
And experts say this legislative end run puts this state right where it's been all along, a bellwether for the rest of the country.
How important is what happens in Massachusetts, do you think?
The conversation is further along in Massachusetts, and I think we're going to see other states following Massachusetts' lead in having debates about these topics. But I think different states will come out different ways.
Julie and Hillary Goodrich still plan to marry. Whether the strength of their union will be backed up by the law is still up for debate. Mika Brzezinski, CBS News, New York.
The man President Bush was expected to name as his new manufacturing czar took himself out of consideration today. Anthony Raimondo's CEO of Balin Manufacturing had drawn fire from Democrats who accused him of sending jobs to China while laying off American workers. On Wall Street today, new concern about terrorism sent stock prices plunging. The Dow fell 168 points and is down well over 400 points for the week. Next up on the CBS Evening News, George Carlin knows what you can't say on TV.
All I could think of was
But is it necessary to spell it out? One congressman thinks so.
What are the 7 words?
Whoa, what is this? With the CVS Extra Care Card, Jim earns extra bucks every time he shops. They're as good as cash at any CVS. Did you put that there? Well, now it's mine. Jack's mom's CVS Extra Care Card actually pays her back for shopping at CVS. It could really add up, eh, Jack?
In my line of work, pain was part of the job, but heartburn pain was part of my life until I got help from Prevacid. I'm a pretty tough guy, but that fireball would hit me more often than linebackers. I was in great shape. I changed my diet. I had enough chalky tabs to line a field with. Still, the heartburn came back. My trainer and I thought it might be serious, so I finally took a time out to see my doctor. He broke it down like this. 1, I had acid reflux disease. 2, acid causes pain and can lead to damage. And 3, he prescribed Prevacid because it helps prevent acid.
Heartburn pain and damage is caused by acid backing up into the esophagus. But one Prevacid once a day helps prevent the acid, stops the pain, and allows your body to heal.
Now I'm retired, and with Prevacid daily, my heartburn is too.
Prescription Prevacid has a low occurrence of side effects such as diarrhea, abdominal pain, and nausea. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. Ask your doctor for more information and if Prevacid is right for you. Help prevent the acid with Prevacid.
For years, the kids have called me their guardian angel.
Brady?
When I got cancer and the chemo made me anemic and too weak to keep working, I had to do something. I asked my doctor about Procrit.
Procrit is for chemotherapy-related anemia in patients with most kinds of cancer. Procrit helps rebuild red blood cells, and more red blood cells can mean more strength. Procrit is proven and safe. In studies, only diarrhea and edema occurred more often with Procrit than placebo.
I'm back, and there's no stopping me.
Announcing the Lincoln Mercury Think Big sales event with just announced savings on every Lincoln and Mercury, including the award-winning Mercury Grand Marquis with 5-star safety and no charge leather seating. A $995 value. Add it all up, And Grand Marquis offers a total value of $4,495 during the Think Big sales event. See your Lincoln Mercury dealer today.
She died a hero. Tomorrow, the family of the first female pilot killed in Iraq share their thoughts. Also, how life has changed in Iraq. Dan Rather reports on the CBS Evening News.
The National Hockey League today suspended Todd Bertuzzi of the Vancouver Canucks without pay for the rest of the season, playoffs included, for a vicious attack against an opposing player. Bertuzzi could still face criminal charges in the attack that left Colorado's Steve Moore with a fractured neck. In Washington, Congress is looking to clean up the airwaves. The House voted today to increase from $27,500 to $500,000 the maximum fine for broadcasters that air indecent material, including foul language. But what exactly is foul language? CBS's Richard Schlesinger reports it's hard to say.
We're not going to show this to the camera, are we?
California Congressman Doug Osei is in one heck of a jam. He's sponsoring a bill that he can't even talk about in polite company.
Congressman, read your bill. Well, I'm Richard. You and I have talked about this, and I knew you were setting me up on this.
Music and lyrics, you too. Osei was outraged when he heard what Bono, the Irish rock star, said on TV at the Golden Globes last year. Needless to say, we can't say what he said.
That's really brilliant. And
everybody knows there are words you just can't say on TV or radio, no matter how excited you are. But before Osei's bill, it's never been spelled out word for word.
The language in here refers to the 7 words that I do not want to hear on
What are the
public
7
broadcast. And this is a public broadcast, and we're not going to put them up on the air.
There are some words. They are almost the same words comedian George Carlin used in his signature routine, which, of course, we can't play.
And all I could think of was
There they are in black and white. The S word, a P word, of course the F word and the C word, and some nasty phrases. The Federal Communications Commission already bans most uses of the words, but Osei says he lost patience with the FCC when it decided some words were okay if used as adjectives, as in my bleeping boss, but not as verbs, as in bleep my boss.
This is the filthiest bill I've ever read.
Political satirist Al Franken read the bill, uses some of the words, and thinks Congressman Osei has gone too far.
The problem is that about 98% of people use these words.
Well, that's probably an exaggeration, but on Capitol Hill, they'll try discussing the bill without using the words. And if you want to know what the words are, write your congressman. Richard Schlesinger, CBS News, Washington.
Or you can look up the bill on the Library of Congress website. I'm John Roberts in New York. Dan Rather will be back from Baghdad in just a moment with what may be in the future for the U.S. military. Could these robots save American lives?
You see an ancient source of power. At Franklin Templeton, we saw a chance to invest in what became the international leader in wind technology, generating powerful returns for Templeton Fund shareholders. Finding opportunities like this around the world requires a unique perspective, one that's made Templeton a leader in global investing for over 50 years. Franklin Templeton Investments. Gain from our perspective.
This is crabgrass. I don't want to see crabgrass in my lawn. We put down Scott's turf builder with Halts in the early spring.
That's the only thing I ever use. Scott's puts this protective barrier over the lawn.
And it stops the crabgrass from germinating. Turf builder with Halts. The best defense against crabgrass.
To play the blues, you have to understand pain.
Less pain, less blood. On your fingers or your arm. One Touch Ultra. Results in 5 seconds.
You want to feel it here, not here.
One Touch Ultra.
This is an amazing age.
This is an amazing age.
We learn something new every day.
You're living in the age of Fosamax, when it's actually possible to help reverse bone loss and strengthen bone. Fosamax Once Weekly is a hormone-free tablet for postmenopausal women at risk for or with osteoporosis. Fosamax is clinically proven to help reverse bone loss. Increases in bone mass were seen as early as 3 months. You should not use Fosamax if you have certain disorders of the esophagus, are unable to stand or sit upright for 30
30 minutes, have severe kidney disease or low blood calcium. Before use, talk to your doctor if you have stomach or digestive problems. Stop taking Fosamax and tell your doctor if you develop new or worsening heartburn, difficult or painful swallowing, or chest pain, because these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
One pill a week can help reverse bone loss.
Ask your doctor if Fosamax once weekly is right for you. This is the age of Fosamax.
This is an amazing age.
Helping reverse bone loss.
Action! Remember, when you hit the water, I need you to hydroplane out of control. Water! Remember, out of control. Cut! No, cut! Okay, fire the stunt driver.
The Michelin Hydro Edge with our special hydro shoes. It's our best performing tire in its class. Michelin, because so much is riding on your...
Coming up in just minutes on News Channel 5 at 6, as a result of our investigations, a former Sunquist administration official is under indictment. We'll have the latest at 6.
As the death toll here in Iraq grows, the Pentagon is looking for ways to reduce casualties in future wars. One possibility, robots. CBS's Lee Cowan reports there will be a kind of tryout this Saturday with robots competing in a 200-mile race across the deserts of California and Nevada.
A long way from Baghdad on a California racetrack, good old-fashioned American ingenuity is working to solve a problem that stopped the Pentagon cold.
This is pretty much out there.
Oh, it's out there. This is how we steer it.
These are the military's dream machines. Driverless, real-life road warriors. Robots, invented by backyard garage geeks and computer whiz kids. Which this week became some of the first vehicles to ever navigate an obstacle course with no one behind the wheel, no remote control.
Hey, watch out, watch out!
Ghostly recruits in the war on terror.
It almost seems like there's a spirit on board that's guiding it and navigating it.
It's technology Congress has mandated be in 1/3 of all combat vehicles by 2015.
For us, it is critical because this technology will save American lives.
Yeah, lighting the fires, kicking the tires.
Warren Williams' nephew drives supply trucks in Baghdad. Someday, this 800-pound cockroach just might do the job instead.
This is pretty personal for you.
Very personal, and I take it very seriously.
But it's not easy. The technology is so hit and miss that the Pentagon will give $1 million to the first robot who can navigate the trails from Barstow to Prim, Nevada, all by itself.
But these are still 200 very solitary miles across a very unforgiving desert. And these pilotless vehicles will have to do more than just avoid terrain. In this race, these hares will quite literally have to avoid the tortoise.
The desert tortoise, that is.
It's great to watch, but we'd like to keep them a little further away.
Endangered species are just as easy to hit as a would-be landmine, and teams of nervous biologists are making sure that doesn't happen. It's all a little extreme. But images of a cyber soldier on a tow truck, rather than a son or daughter on a stretcher, give a poignant sense of urgency to replacing soldiers with servos. Lee Cowan, CBS News, Barstow.
And that's part of our world. For the CBS Evening News, Dan Rather reporting tonight from Baghdad. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, click on CBSNews.com. Brought to you in part by Walmart, bringing your community jobs, low prices, and support for neighborhood programs. Has life changed for Iraqis? You bet it has. Dan Rather reports tomorrow. Experience CBS News.
A major development in our Friends in High Places investigation. A former Sunquist administration official now faces federal charges.
Plus, a very dramatic day in the state Senate, a major battle over the controversial issue of abortion.
One lane, a small black four-door, running 80 miles an hour, coming at you.
Metro Police have a new weapon against speeders, and you'll probably never see it coming. The news is now.
From your news and information leader. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, everyone. A former Sunquist administration official faces federal charges, and some say a close friend of former Governor Don Sunquist could be next.
That's right. A federal grand jury returned an indictment against a former Tennessee Labor Department appointee this afternoon. It is the first indictment relating to insider contracts uncovered by our own News Channel 5 Friends in High Places investigation. Our chief investigative reporter, Phil Williams, exposed the scandal that started this investigation.
It's the first major development involving workforce strategists since FBI and TBI agents hauled away records from the Chattanooga company almost 18 months ago.